mate, Trippy, and his assistant setting up the sounder on the head of the toe, transducer, whatever you want to call it. We call them sounders. But it's got a foot on the bottom of it that, with the 12-volt system here, when it's plugged in back, we're on actually the bow of the toe getting set up. We'll actually go up on that end and downstream on it. That's turn around, turn the boat around, and downstream. Right there is the center of the toe of 35. 7 wide, 5 long. And that's called the jack staff barge right here, which is the center of the toe. And we'll go around here, light boat, go up, turn around, top the boat around, and downstream back on the center string right here of 7 wide. That'll put us right in the middle. It gives you the leverage to drive the toe down the river. And Mr. Trippy and his assistant, they're getting her set up for our sounders to test the depth of the water as we're going down the river. So then we can tell how deep it is, and when we start getting in, going over them sandbars and whatnot for the depth, so we don't get aground. It'll plug into the boat when we get the boat topped around and downstreamed on there. They'll hook them sounder cords. See them blue cords right there? They're actually speaker cords, lightweight. You don't need no bunch of electric light cords, heavy. You always got problems with them. But them little old light speaker cords, you never have a problem with them. Never. Unless one gets cut or broke or whatever. But there's the sounder on the other side of the toe. This is the bow, the head of the toe. Here's the bow of the boat. Capstan, winches, cavalars, all our face rigging. Capstan, they're getting all their headgear set up here to go face up on the other end. There's Mr. Trippy, hard at work. There's Jay. He's doing it too. That's Jay right there. He's from Macomb, Mississippi. Mr. Trippy, he's from West Virginia. Hard worker. You can tell. See how slim he is? Slim and trim. That's old James Jones's ex-mate. Check it out, James. Trippy's still at it. He's hard at it. Look how slim he is. Fit, son. That's from hard work right there. It ain't from laid up on the couch eating bonbons and popcorn watching movie shit. That's from working right there. Look at him toting that ratchet. That's one of them ratchets right there. See how it made up to that wire? Pull that wire tight, keep that barge in there good and tight. There's another one right there. That's called breast rigging. Tow wire. There he is. He's gonna set that ratchet up over there. So when we go to flank southbound, backing up around these sharp turns, 90-degree switchbacks is what we call them in the mountains when you're riding them Harley Davidsons through Tail of the Dragon and up there in them Smoky Mountains. So river's got a lot of switchbacks in it, 90-degree turns, and as low as the river is right now, very treacherous. You better back up. But anyway, he'll tie that ratchet, lean that ratchet against that sounder pole, and then when we back up to go flank these sharp 90-degree turn switchbacks within that sounder foot, the current don't push that sounder foot up and lose the signal. It keeps that pole jacked up there to where this end don't flop up out of the water and you lose your depth of your sounder. But yeah, they're getting her all set up on the bow up here. It's called head rigging, headgear. Get her ready to go south. There's the jack staff. That's a pole that put right in the center of the toe. It's got a blue light on it, and at night, when we're on that other end, faced up, going south, you can see that blue light on it, what's called the jack staff, and it has a flag on it, so you can tell which direction the wind's blowing, whichever way, you know. And that's what them toe knee flags right there for too. So you can tell which direction the wind is actually blowing, and you can adjust and allow for that, especially if you got an empty toe northbound. You can steer into that wind kind of like a sailboat, you know, to where it don't blow you into the bank or on a sandbar or whatever. You can adjust your rudder and your course to keep from getting out of the channel. But if it's blowing so hard like hurricane strength, then you're usually against the bank if you have an all empty toe, because then it's called windbound. The wind is stronger than the actual rudder power of the boat, and it'll slam you against the bank when the wind's hurricane strength like that. So usually conditions like that, if you've got an all empty toe northbound out of the Gulf, well then you got a hurricane coming. Well, them 100 and something mile-an-hour winds, you better be against a bank, because it's gonna blow you against the bank and bust your toe all up, because you can't overpower them hurricane strength winds, especially with an all empty toe northbound. But they doing it to it. They doing the other side of the toe too. See, that's actually the port side of the toe, and they're putting that ratchet on there so when we flank, that foot don't kick up and you lose the signal from the current being so swift under there coming down the river in these switchback 90-degree turns, like the tail of the dragon. It'll get you if you ain't careful. That's why you better back her up. But they gonna go out there and start checking some more stuff. Checking that head rigging, headgear, breast wires, tow wires, keeping them barges together tight. You gotta have them tight. We'll be getting turned loose here in a few minutes. Turn that capstan line right there loose from the toe where they put out all the headgear, sounders, transducers, whatnot. Checking all this headgear, make sure everything's together tight properly. On the other end, that's actually the north end right there. That's the IC Railroad Bridge on the Ohio River. And we're just a few miles up in the Ohio River here. That's what's called the high rise. It's an apartment building over on Cairo Point, Cairo, Illinois. Right back down there is the Cairo Highway Bridge in the Ohio River. And just south of it, about a half a mile, is what's called the junction. It's a three-river junction. That's where the Ohio River runs out right below the bridge down there, Cairo Highway Bridge on the Ohio. And then over here is called Cairo Point. That's where the upper Mississippi River runs down into, right there at the junction. And then that's right at the junction, it's called the lower Mississippi River. But the Ohio River runs out into the lower Mississippi River. And then the upper Mississippi River, there at Cairo Point, the junction, it's a three-river junction. The upper Mississippi River runs all the way to St. Paul, Minnesota, Twin Cities, all up in there, St. Louis. Then you go all the way to St. Paul, Minnesota, up the upper Mississippi River. The Ohio River here, going back this way, that's northbound, north right there, headed north. You run all the way to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The Monongahela River, the Allegheny River, all the way up there around the Pittsburgh area. It's another junction where other rivers run into. But once we leave here southbound, we run down through the Cairo Highway Bridge, southbound out of the Ohio River. And then when we get down half a mile below that bridge right there, it's called Cairo Point. That's the three-river junction. Then we'll continue on south down the lower Mississippi River and go on down to the Gulf, New Orleans, Gulf of Mexico. So that's what we're doing today. Getting ready to head south again. Triple screw jet boat. God bless America. Hope y'all enjoy.